It is time to breathe again on this latest breath of fresh air, Shorty. I am Charles T, your host for today, and I am here to talk about a topic where it's going into the history of teams in general. So, where I'm going with this is you always hear, whether you're looking at, name the network, ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC Sports, CBS Sports, wherever, you always hear a phrase that says the league is better when said team is good. And it's always going back to these historic franchises, whether we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL, or maybe it's the Raiders, of course, being in Oakland and now they're in Las Vegas. If you go over to basketball, you have charter franchises like the Lakers and the Knicks. In baseball, it's the Yankees or Red Sox or Dodgers or Giants. And then in hockey, it's someone like the Montreal Canadiens. Uh, the teams who were good historically, when you look at how they've been doing, uh, lately, though, they haven't been that great. So, I mean, look, you look at Dallas. Let's go back to the NFL. You look at the Dallas Cowboys. They haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995. So there's people who have been born who don't even remember the last time the Cowboys were good. They've seen a few years where they've made the playoffs, but the Cowboys haven't made it past the divisional playoff round since 95, which was their last Super Bowl victory. And then you look at the Raiders, just naming another one. The Raiders, they haven't been back to a Super Bowl since 2002. And then you go to the NBA, the Lakers, until they won the championship in 2020, they hadn't won one since 2010. And before that season where they won the NBA title in 2020, they were tied with the New York Knicks for the most losses in a span going back to 2013, which was the last time the Lakers had made the playoffs before 2019 slash 2020. And then I just mentioned the Knicks. The Knicks, they've been struggling mightily. They just got back to the playoffs last year. And then in baseball, you talk about the Yankees. The Yankees, they have 27 World Series titles, but they hadn't won one since 2009. And then in hockey, the Montreal Canadiens. So we know they have not won a Stanley Cup since 1993. And I think they have, and you can fact check me on all these, but I think the Canadians have uh, 24, I think, Stanley Cups they have won, with a lot of those going back to definitely before I was born. So yeah, I'm just here to ask the question. You hear that saying, the league, said league, is good when this team is good, or the league is better when this team is good. But is the league really better when that team is good? I mean, I ask that because it's not like we've been missing these teams not being good, to be honest. So I'll go to another example, college football. And all we keep on hearing about the U, and everybody is wondering if Miami is back. Some people want to proclaim Miami to be back, but they're not back, and they're not close to being back. They are a long way removed from those glory days back in the early 2000s. And of course, they had a dominant run in the late 80s and early 90s as well. But are we really missing the U? I don't think so. I haven't seen any indication of anybody missing the U and saying, and that whole saying of, oh, the college football is better when the U is good. I don't really think so. I don't think college football is hurting with the U being garbage. I don't see anywhere where college football is not good when the U isn't good. I mean, the college football is great, and what old dynasties get left behind, new dynasties are born, better teams are born. And it's going to continue to carry on whether that team is good or not. Like in the NFL, yeah, the Cowboys haven't been that good, but are we missing the Cowboys being good? I mean, you even get questions being asked about how relevant they are. Are they really America's team? Yeah, they're killing it business wise. They're the most valuable franchise in sports, but on the field, they haven't been anything. And that remains to be seen if they'll be anything this year. We talked about the Lakers and the Knicks. And I mean, with the Lakers, people want to say, oh, the NBA is better when the Lakers are good. But I mean, a lot of that stuff was in the past. It had been a while until they won their championship. And the NBA wasn't hurting with the Lakers being bad, and definitely not with the Knicks being bad. Baseball, plenty of other good teams out there besides just the Yankees. And I mean, in the NHL, I mean, the Canadians, I mean, they're in Canada. Nobody's worried about Canada here. Nothing against the people north of the border. I mean, I'm all about Canada. Canada's a beautiful country. But I mean, in all actuality, nobody's really worried about the Canadians being good. So look, I'm just here to ask that question. Is the league really better if these historic charter member teams are good? To me, that answer is no, because I feel like it is going to be good regardless of the status of those teams. Because, I mean, honestly, if new blood is popping up, like what you have right now, when you're looking at some of these divisions in the NFL, you got the Kansas City Chiefs in last place in the AFC West. You have the Seattle Seahawks right now in last place in the AFC West. I mean, Tampa Bay, excuse me. You have Tampa Bay. I mean, and again, I know it's early, but right now the Carolina Panthers are in first place in the NFC South. So, look, when you have new blood, that keeps teams and the players and their fans energized. When you see that parity, I think that makes things better than just seeing the same quote unquote historic charter franchises that are still there. Now, I'm not trying to throw any shade at the fans of these teams or anything, but let's not act like they're the only teams that matter. That's crazy. So to hear, oh, it's the league is better when said charter franchise is good, to me, it's just not true, and it doesn't really equate to anything anymore. Not these days, because a lot of these times when those teams were good, nobody remembers it. So what we know is the new blood. The people who are old enough to remember, yeah, okay, those days were great, and I get where people can feel a soft spot toward that, but it's good to see new blood in there. These leagues are great when there is parity, and to be honest, the league is going to carry on, and we as fans are going to carry on if those teams aren't in the playoffs. Like when the Lakers were missing the playoffs, nobody was missing the Lakers like that. We just said better luck next year. So we'll just continue to march on and watch to see how everything materializes. But that's the question I want to ask you guys. Is the leagues really better when these charter members are good? Please don't hesitate to leave your comments and feedback on this, Shorty, to let me know how you feel about that. Because me, I'm saying no. That will do it for this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air Shorty edition. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Until next week, y'all, everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy the games that are coming up this weekend, and we will talk soon. Y'all take care.